Good afternoon guys, welcome back to Maverick Baking and welcome back to another foreign junk food review. Today's far-flung treats come from a not too far-flung at all place actually. We're just hopping and skipping across the North Sea from Scotland to Norway. So last weekend I visited my friend who lives in the gorgeous city of Oslo, which is the capital of Norway, and of course, your girl here wasn't gonna come back from the airport without kilos of duty-free chocolate, was she? Of course not. So today is going to be part one of a little two-part series of Scottish Girl tastes of Norwegian chocolate. So welcome, let's stop making hand gestures and eat. Today I'm going to be tasting 4 Norwegian chocolates. Now a couple of these are apparently some classics. We're going to be tasting Smash, which just calls itself sweet, salty and crispy. We're going to be tasting this Hobby bar. We're going to be tasting the Krokanrull, Mandel Krokan, which looks like a kind of funky Rolo type thing. And we're also going to be tasting the Kvikklunch, which I think actually means quick lunch, which is kind of cute. So yeah, let's just dive into these and see how they are. So I think the first thing I'm going to taste are these Smash. Now my friend I stayed with in Norway is actually Danish, but he pointed out that these are kind of a big thing in Norway. So the packet says that these are crispy snacks covered with chocolate. Here's just a little close-up for you so you can see. It almost looks like they're going to be little kind of chocolate-covered ice cream cones or something. These smell like they're going to be very addictive. So, not the fullest of bags. It is kind of half empty, as many of these shading bags are, but you might be able to see some of the goodies we have hidden in there. Here's just a little kind of close-up of what these little Smash look like. So I've no idea what the premise for this is. They look kind of by the bubbles on the inside like they've been deep fried, and that's what's going to make them crispy. And they have a fairly thin layer of chocolate on the outside, but it's enough that you can smell it, and it looks really enticing. So let's taste Smash. Ooh. I said I thought these were going to be addictive, and I was right. Can you hear that crunch? Let me just give you a kind of close-up of the center to show you what that texture's like. I hope that focuses for you. So it is a very thin layer of chocolate on the outside, quite a cheap chocolate, so it's just a generic kind of sweet flavor. But the crunch on the inside, the texture is almost somewhere between, you know, a really crunchy deep fried rice cake type thing and cornflakes. So a real fresh crispiness to it. And there is definitely a good layer of saltiness coming in there. I could quite easily eat that whole bag. You get that kind of toasted cereal flavor, you get crunch, you get salty, you get sweet. It would be very easy to eat this entire packet because they're so light, and you know, because of the saltiness, they're not too rich, they're not too kind of sickly. They are getting a solid 4 out of 5 from me. Let's move on to our second chocolate of today's video. Now, honestly, this one makes me quite nervous. All it says on the front is Skaff deg en Hobby, but there is very little clue as to what on earth is inside this. It's certainly a gorgeous wrapper. I think it looks very retro. It looks very kind of 1960s with the big font that takes up the whole thing, but there is literally no clue as to what this is. The reason I'm scared is because I know that Scandinavia love marzipan. And if you've ever watched any of my I Review Food I Hate series, you'll know me and marzipan aren't really friends. But we're going to taste it anyway, just to see what it is, what it's like, and what we're dealing with. Again, absolutely no clues whatsoever. Very unassuming, fairly thin chocolate bar, little kind of ripple effect on the top, but just what looks like a generic milk chocolate. Honestly, the main smell is banana, which is kind of weird. It smells a lot like a kind of cheap banana milkshake or those kind of foamy banana sweets you get. I have no idea if this is marshmallow. I have no idea if this is going to be caramel, if it's going to be biscuit. Let's taste the Hobby and find out. I have no idea what I'm eating. The texture of this is extremely confusing. and not in a good way. Let me just give you a little bit of a close-up of the center right there. So you have a fairly kind of thin layer of milk chocolate, which gives way to this bizarre, super chewy, dense marshmallow type thing, and a weird kind of fruity gel that's weirdly stiff. So the marshmallow, unlike in if you've ever had a mallow and marsh bar, or if any of my Polish viewers are watching, the kind that you would have on Ptasia Mleczko, you know, it's not that kind of lovely soft marshmallow. It's a weird, firm, mattress-like texture. And the gel above it is fruity and sweet, but it's almost like it has too much gelatin in it. It's really, really stiff, which contrasts weirdly with the chewy marshmallow and the super thin chocolate. All I can taste is like artificial fruit flavoring. It's almost like banana and apricot. The chocolate isn't great, the marshmallow has no flavor. Honestly, I'm really sorry if this is kind of a classic Norwegian snack, but this is not for me. It's a 2 out of 5. Let's move on. Okay, so let's move on, I think, to the kvik lunch, or kvik lunch. Lunch, I'm not sure. Anyway, I think I was told it does literally translate to quick lunch. And this is basically the Norwegian take on a Kit Kat. Or it might have been around before the Kit Kat. I don't actually know. I love a Kit Kat. They're kind of often seen as almost like an old people's snack, or like a dieter's snack in the UK, because they're, you know, quite boring. But honestly, I bloody love a Kit Kat. So this is what we have inside the Kvik Lunch. So we have pictures of storks all over the chocolate, I think. Just kind of miscellaneous single-legged birds on there. Looks very much like a Kit Kat. Kind of smells like advent calendar chocolate. You know, like a really cheap but comforting milk chocolate. Let's give it a taste. And no, I'm not going to be a monster that bites into all 4 fingers. People who do so should be jailed. Let's taste it. I don't actually think I like it as much as a Kit Kat. It's less sweet, and I think there is a thicker amount of chocolate in there. I'll just give you a little close-up in case you're unfamiliar with a Kit Kat or it's been a while. You just have a few wafers. You have a few layers of wafer and that chocolate in there. Nothing really wow though. The chocolate is creamy. I would say it's probably less sweet than a Kit Kat, but I would also say that the taste of the chocolate itself has a lot less character. You know, this tastes very kind of generic. It's good, and you know, the balance between the chocolate and the wafer is perfect, much like a Kit Kat. And I feel like I probably shouldn't be comparing it. It might be a bit unfair, but you know, it's what my mind jumps to when I'm kind of reviewing a thing like this. Overall, it's decent. You know, the texture's good between the chocolate and the wafer. It's a very good size. It's certainly not unpleasant, but it's nothing wow. You know, there's nothing kind of groundbreaking here. It's good. I'll give it a 3 out of 5. The final product we're going to taste in today's video is the Krokanrull. Again, I might be pronouncing that so wrong, but it's fun to say. So this is also from the brand Freya, or Freya, and this almost looks like it's going to be like a kind of crunchy almond Rolo, which I find very exciting. So you can see a little bit from the packaging that these are kind of individual chocolates, and we're going to have some kind of almond pieces in there. Again, I don't know if it will have the kind of chewy caramel or toffee that a Rolo does, but it's certainly the closest thing I could think of when I saw that it came in a roll. You don't really see many other chocolates that come shaped like that. Opening up, you can see that the chocolates come kind of in little pairs actually, just all rolled up in this big tube. So we'll take a couple out. This is the size that they are, fairly small. They have a little kind of indent in the middle, which is cute. They don't smell of anything particularly nutty. You can get a little bit of kind of savoury almond smell in the back, but it mostly just smells like it's going to be chocolate. Let's bite in and see how the Krokanrull is. Absolutely nothing like a Rolo. So I think just because of the shape of these things, much like Rolos or Munchies, I expected them to have caramel in the centre, but they don't. They're actually very kind of light and crunchy. So you probably won't be able to see, but here is a kind of close-up where you might be able to see some of those tiny crunchy almond pieces. But other than that, it's just a very kind of little, barely even bite-sized chocolate treat. And a pretty decent one at that. Again, I can see these being very easy to eat the whole roll. They are very sweet. It's a very sweet milk chocolate, but it is a creamy milk chocolate. The crunchy almonds give it a little bit of flavour, nothing too nutty. You know, if you're not into nutty chocolate, it's mostly just a nice crunchy texture to go with your chocolate. I love that they come in a roll. It's something we really don't see a lot of in the UK. We have lots of bagged chocolates, but we don't really see a lot in packaging like this. So I can imagine this being very easy to kind of sneakily eat in the office, on the bus, you know, without having to rustle or share with anyone. You can literally just into your mouth, which I like. Yeah, overall, again, nothing super wow, but I think it's a cute idea. It's well executed. I'll give that a 4 out of 5. So today has been interesting. I must say that straight away, Norwegian chocolate hasn't blown my mind as much as Polish chocolate did on my first taste. But I'm certainly enjoying seeing different kind of shapes and concepts here. You know, the smash is something I've never seen anything like before. And the hobby, even though I didn't like it, is certainly a painting of textures and flavours I've never seen or tasted anywhere. And I love that. If you guys have ever been to Norway, if you're from Norway, if you know someone who's from Norway, even if you know where Norway is, let me know if you've ever tasted any Norwegian chocolates and what you would recommend. Scottish Girl Tastes Norwegian Chocolate Part 2 will be coming very soon, so hit that like button. It might just speed things up. In the meantime, thank you so much for watching. Always appreciate you being here, and I will see you for the next one.